I'm going to share about the 21-day challenge. If you're an entrepreneur, high achiever, you're feeling stuck, you're lost, you don't have the clarity, you're not following through like you know you should be, or you just know there's another level, another gear in your performance and in your greatness, send me a message and let me know you're ready for the 21-day challenge. It's one-on-one accountability for 21 days. You'll get crystal clear on your goals, break them down into bite-sized steps, and you'll get that support that you've been craving, the one-on-one support that you need to make sure you succeed. So send me a message. Look forward to talking to you about your 21-day challenge. Next up is the iTunes review of the week. And this week, the winner is Miss Litran. Miss Litran says, great info, great energy. Thanks, Chris, for sharing vital info on how to improve your mindset and bring your A game out. Thank you so much, Miss Litran. I appreciate you. And if you want to give us a review, go to beergps.com/iTunes and search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on the iTunes store, and you can find us there. Thank you so much in advance for doing that. So I'm going to make sure I share this out. If you love the GPS message, Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self, make sure you share this so that more people can have access to this as well. So again, I'm going to introduce Ben in a minute here. Make sure you stay tuned all the way through till the end, because you never know what one idea can transform the rest of your life. And this dude is a powerhouse of wisdom, of wealth, of knowledge, of nutrition, of health, and being your greatest possible self. So make sure you stay tuned, because he is doing it. He's doing it big. So let's introduce him, and then we'll bring him on the screen. Ben Azadi. FDN-P is on a mission to help 1 billion people live a healthier lifestyle. Ben is the author of 3 best-selling books: The Perfect Health Booklet, Simple Steps Proven to Transform Your Health; The Intermittent Fasting Cheat Sheet, Discover How This Ancient Practice Can Transform Your Health; and The Power of Sleep, Effective Strategies to Switch Off Your Brain, Stop Hitting Snooze, Wake Up Energized, and Own the Day. As a formerly obese person, Ben is now the go-to source when it comes to holistic health, longevity, anti-aging, functional fitness, and fat loss. He is known as the Health Detective because he investigates dysfunction and educates, not medicates, to bring the body back to normal function. Ben is considered a ketogenic and intermittent fasting expert amongst his peers. And he's here to rock the house with us today. Ben, you ready to tear it up, bro?
I am ready to rock and roll with you, dude.
Yes! I love it. I love it, man. So great to have you back. You're a powerhouse, man. I love seeing your consistency, love your branding. Everything you're doing, man, is just, it's like top notch. You're rocking it, Ben. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate that. I received that with open arms, and I see the same with you. That's why we resonate on this same frequency. Because, dude, I'm like, I see you every Wednesday. Got this marathon, and I'm like, this guy's got some stamina. Nobody's doing it. And I said it to you back in September when I was on your show, and I'm saying it to you now, almost half a year later. No one's got that stamina, dude, and I love it, and you inspire me.
I own that, and I receive it as well, brother. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Ben. So what we're going to do to kick this thing off is talk about wonder and possibility, man. So, Ben, how does wonder and possibility show up in your life, and what does that mean for you?
Ooh, that's a good question. When people ask me how I'm doing, I say I'm wonderful. Why? Because I'm full of wonder.
Ooh.
What does that mean to me? That means a lot of things. It means joy. It means I'm curious. It means I'm always learning, and I know that I don't know everything. And the more I learn, the more I understand that I don't really know too much. So I'm full of wonder. I'm full of happiness. I'm full of joy. And that's my response all the time when somebody asks, how you doing? I'm wonderful.
Wow. That's so amazing, man. I love it. I love it. And that's who you are. You really are full of wonder. You're full of energy. You're full of life. And you really bring that to the world. And you bring it to your clients. You bring it in the work you do. So for everyone who's just getting connected with you, why don't you share a little bit more about who you are, what you stand for, and how you serve your clients, man?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Who I am. So who I am right now, I'm a 3-time best-selling author, as you mentioned. I am on a mission to educate the world on health, nutrition, and we're going to get into that stuff, the goods in a little bit. And I am doing everything virtually nowadays. So I have a podcast that's coming out soon, actually, by the way. I have books that I've written. I speak on stages. I have my online health coaching program. Now, who I was somebody who was tiptoeing their way through life, hoping to make it safely to death. Depressed, obese, very much unhealthy, both physically and mentally. And I mentioned this on the previous episode, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. Mm-hmm. But I took responsibility. I mean, my shirt says here, I am responsible, with my name underneath it. And it's a reminder that nobody is the cause of my problems. If somebody hits me while I'm driving, that's my problem. Yeah. I'm responsible for that. And, it wasn't really until I really started studying Wayne Dyer, the late and great Wayne Dyer. And he used to say it all the time, if other people were the cause of your problems, you're going to have to hire a psychiatrist and send that psychiatrist to the world in order for you to get better. That's just not going to happen. So taking full responsibility changed my life. I transformed my health, and now I'm just on a mission. That's you had mentioned in the beginning. You see me active on social media because I feel like it's my duty, obligation, and responsibility to share this message as much as possible. So that's what I'm about right now.
That's awesome, man. I love it. I love it. So you mentioned in the past you did have to overcome some unhealthy challenges that you were doing. You were tiptoeing your way through life, really just to safely arrive at death. What would you say? You said responsibility was a big part of that. Was there any other paradigm shifts that happened to have you show up as the Ben Azadi that's with us today?
Yeah, I'm a big believer that in order for your outside world to change, your inside world needs to change first.
Yeah.
So I had to do some work on myself. I definitely surrounding myself with people who are in a position that I want to be in, who have the results that I want. That's something that has been proven to be tremendous for me and my success. Mm-hmm. And I've been very selective over the years on who I want to listen to. And that's a problem that I had in the past, which was when I was getting into self-development and personal growth and all that. I was reading so many books. I actually read over 100 books in a year one time.
Wow.
I actually read 23 books in 30 days one time. And it was great. A lot of information. But what I learned from it was that it was just too much information from different people. And I was scattered. I didn't take action because it was just like pounding myself with information. Wow. So now I'm very selective. And what I look for is, is that person, do they have the relationships that I want? Do they have the finances? Are they healthy? Are they happy? And then if they are, then I will listen to them, because I always tell people, never take advice from a quitter. And what that means is, and I don't mean this in any negative way, but we have family who have quit on themselves.
Yeah.
We love them for who they are, but when we take financial advice from them, it just doesn't make sense to me because they don't have the fruit on their tree. I'm looking for that golden apple, dude. So I'm seeking for individuals who have a golden apple. And when I find them, I go all in with them. And that's how I've been able to accelerate my results in the last few years.
Damn, that's powerful, man. So you mentioned that, you were at this phase when you're just beginning seeking so much information because you're just like, I know that there's wisdom out there. I'm hungry for it. I'm excited for it. Let's go learn. I was the exact same way, man. Investing like tens of thousands of dollars into personal development education just to grow myself, to finally be enough, right? There was this hole that I was trying to fill inside of myself, but I really did love learning, and it was so much fun and growing. And I'm so grateful for all the seminars, all the events that I went to. I know you just went to 10X Growth Con event, right? Like it just happened this last weekend. How was that for you? And what is important for you about continuing to go to live events that makes a difference for you?
Yeah, I was just at the 10X Growth Con 3. Luckily for me, it was in my backyard. It was in Miami.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I didn't have to travel. There were people from all over the world, and it made me feel blessed that I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to travel so far. That conference was a Super Bowl of all conferences. It was insane. What I look for are those golden nuggets from what the speakers are saying. I really get the most out of hearing their struggles. What did they have to go through? What kind of crap did they have to put up with and persevere in order for them to get to where they wanted to get to?
Yeah.
And I get that. And then I always see them talk about, I accomplished this. They're multimillionaires and billionaires, but I have bigger goals. And that inspires me because they never rest on their laurels. So I'm always looking for those golden nuggets of how they struggled and what I can learn from their mistakes, so I can kind of manufacture time and I don't have to make those same mistakes. And then I also look for connections. Who can I meet here that I could bring value to, that I could network with, and we could potentially do something good together and create instead of consume. So those are the main things that I do when I go to networking events or business conferences and so on and so forth.
That's awesome, man. I love it. I love it. Grant Cardone is doing it big, man. Just like absolutely taking it to the next level. That 10X mindset is so powerful. And I know mindset is one of the big things we want to talk about today is like when we are becoming our healthiest possible selves or achieving our greatest possible health, we know that nutrition is super important for it. And you and I talked before this and we said, well, that's great. And if you don't have the thought pattern, the mindset pattern, the belief pattern to go with it, then it's not going to work. So tell us a little bit more about that and how you discovered that aspect, that kind of chink in the armor of this philosophy in the first place. How did it all start for you?
Yeah, this is a very important topic that we're talking about here that I don't believe it's spoken about enough. You know, when I listen to health podcasts, I don't really hear anybody talking about this. I firmly believe, Chris, that you could be doing everything right. You could be sleeping good, you could be eating keto, eating organic, exercising. And if you are having resentment and hate inside of yourself, self-limiting thoughts, negative thoughts, you're not going to get well. It's not going to happen. Like I mentioned, the inner world changes and then the outer world changes after that. So for myself, I used to be mentally obese. I tell people that all the time. My biggest accomplishment with my transformation was not the physical transformation. It was the mental transformation. Wow. I carved out a rock solid mental six pack to the point where somebody could say something to me. They could be totally aggressive and mean, and it deflects off of me like water off of a fish, because when you know who you are, what you're a stand for, that's like someone coming up to you, Chris, and saying, hey man, you have a whole bunch of blue hair and it's kind of annoying, it's getting in my way. A, you don't have any hair. B, if you did, it wouldn't be blue. So you would look at that person like, I don't understand it. I know for a fact I don't have blue hair. So when you develop this rock solid conviction and you start loving yourself, and I'm going to explain what I do and what I do with my clients, everything else works that much more better. So I always tell my clients, I want you to stand in front of the mirror. I want you to look at yourself in the eye and say, thank you, I love you. Love yourself. If you love yourself, the world loves you. And I'm a firm believer that love and gratitude are two of the biggest healers that we have in this world. Yep. And that hate and resentment are two of the biggest destroyers that we have in this world. So there's so many people who have resentment. They're driving through traffic and they're cursing people in their car. That's creating stress in your body. And when you have stress, when cortisol goes up, glucose goes up with it. And guess what? You're in a fat storage state. So you're wondering, why can't I lose weight? Well, it starts on the inside.
Yeah, man, that's so powerful. So like the problem is people have these emotions. It sounds like that they're directing, they think that it might be just going outwards, cussing out the person in front of you who cuts you off, complaining about things outside, but really that's a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. And if I want to have better health, then I really have to be aware of what are the thoughts that I'm thinking, what's the self-talk that I'm thinking, how am I processing my emotions, probably even past traumas and stories that I've had to like grow through and go through, but maybe haven't fully processed and released to be able to be my healthiest self.
Exactly. And that's why the work that you're doing and Petya is doing so freaking important. It goes hand in hand with what I'm doing. Because like we just talked about, it's so important to control the inside. When you were talking about this 21-day challenge you're doing to hold people accountable, I want to tell anybody listening to that, sign up for it, like take action for it. Thoughts, thinking about doing it doesn't produce any results. The world doesn't reward intention, it rewards action. To have somebody like Chris who's going to teach you what he's learned so you don't make his mistakes. He's going to teach you to be accountable. Accountability is the glue that ties your goals to your results. He's going to bring it together for you. It's so important to have a coach to be your GPS guide, especially when we're talking about self-development, because if you take care of the inside, then you can have somebody like me or somebody else coach you on what to eat, what's the best time to eat. It's a holistic approach that we're talking about here. Yeah,
it's so powerful, man, and thank you. Love doing the accountability and breaking through their BS, people's BS, the things that keep them stuck, the limiting beliefs, the blind spots. It just frees me up when I see other people freed up. It's like I feel them, there's like an emotional connection, energetic connection. It's so awesome. But it's really, to be able to get to that point, we got to be willing to put in the work. And Jim Rohn talks about, it's not so much about the goal or the destination, it's about who you become in that process. So who should people be aiming to become in the process of being their healthiest selves? What's your opinion on that, Ben?
I love that Jim Rohn quote.
Yeah.
It's so true. I set my goals 10x, speaking about Grant Cardone, not because of that I really want to, not because of achieving that goal, but because of who I have to become in order to achieve that goal, right?
Yeah.
So who do you have to become is somebody who's responsible, first and foremost. You got to take full responsibility for your life. It's impossible to be angry and resentful and upset and say I am responsible at the same time. It doesn't happen. So when I start my lectures, when I'm speaking in front of people, whether it's 5 people or over 100 people, I always have them chant with me, I am responsible, because there's so much power to that. So take full responsibility. And I want to piggyback back on the self-limiting beliefs, because you do a lot of work with that. Mm-hmm. I struggle every single day. I don't want to use the word struggle. I'm aware of my self-limiting beliefs every single day.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
The difference between who I am now and who I was before is that I used to let the self-limiting beliefs stop me.
Yeah.
Right now, I know that it's there. I say, thank you. I'm going to choose a better thought. That's the greatest power that we have. The power to choose different thoughts. But it comes up every single day, and it sounds like you could agree that you also have these thoughts and you're aware of them and you do it anyways. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, in the past, they would overcome me and I would be taken out. I like to say it, like the thought would take me out. It would take me on a downward spiral. It would, throw me out of commission because I would buy into it and I would like follow that story, that negative story about how, powerless I am, how I'm not enough, I'm not there yet, I'm not yet ready yet, blah, 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 blah. And so, like you said, I've gotten to this point of awareness where it's like I can notice when that thought happens and not allow it to take me out and say, hey, it's just a thought. It's not real. What am I choosing? What am I creating instead? Where am I focusing? Where are we going to go today? I'm focusing on abundance. I'm focusing on great health, great energy, great prosperity, productivity, all of it. And how do I take that next step now?
Yeah, and your energy is shifted just by you saying that.
Yeah,
I felt so good. Yeah, and what Chris was that Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor told me, whenever you have self-limiting beliefs and whenever you have doubt, it has nothing to do with who you are now or your potential. It has everything to do with your conditioning, your previous experiences when you were a child up until this point. And there's a story that I share at my health lectures that I haven't shared in a while, and I would love to share. It takes about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So there's this baby elephant that's born way out in Africa. And this baby elephant, as soon as it's born, they put this baby elephant to work every day, long day of work from morning to nighttime. And after a long day of work, they tie a chain around the ankle of this elephant and they stake that into the ground and they leave that elephant there overnight until the next morning so they could go back to work with that elephant. Now, what happens is that elephant tries to escape every night. It wants to break free, but it's just a baby. It's not strong enough to break away. Now, what happens is that months and then years pass by. This elephant is now a full-grown beast capable of pulling 10 times its own body weight, capable of pulling loaded railroad carts. They put that same chain around its ankle, stake it into the ground, tie up at night. That elephant could easily pull away and be free. Wow. In fact, that elephant does not move. It will not move until it dies. It will die there. Wow. Because it's been conditioned to believe that it's stuck, that it's trapped, it can't be free. Our self-limiting beliefs are like that chain. When did that chain get on your ankle? Who put it there? You could break free. You have much more power than you believe, than you have been led to believe. And I thought that was just a powerful illustration of self-limiting beliefs and conditioning.
Yeah, it's like we don't even know what has been placed on us or keeping us trapped. They often talk about the glass ceiling for finances. You have a wealth thermostat, right? Like people think, oh, because my dad earned $100,000 in a year, I can't earn more than that. So every time someone gets close to, getting the promotion or, bringing in more clients and generating more income, they're like, oh, then they sabotage themselves. They get sick. They whatever, like who knows what might come up. But it's like all of the subconscious saying there's a block from us being able to get past that. And it does what it can to keep them safe, to keep them in the comfort zone. So I think it's pretty similar to that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great analogy. Yeah, the comfort zone is a dangerous place because it feels good, but it's very dangerous.
It's like everything you want is outside of your comfort zone, and people stay there their whole lives, and it's definitely not a good place to be. So in the awareness of thoughts, how does that play into like choosing the right nutrition? Because I think they kind of have to happen both at the same time, wouldn't you say? Like even if someone's choosing really great nutrition, but they're not choosing their thoughts, eventually the thoughts will win and probably bring them back down to not having great nutrition. It's like they would get tired. They would say, hey, this isn't working. Like these good healthy foods, the veggies, the keto, whatever, it's like not working. But they have to work at the same time. They have to go in the same direction.
Totally. Yeah, they go hand in hand. And, just some simple steps is that we're made up of trillions of cells. We're upwards of 100 trillion cells. Every second, cells are being broken down. Every second, cells are being built up. Our cells could only choose two sources of fuel. Either it's burning sugar in the form of glucose, or it's burning fat in the form of ketones, hence the ketogenic diet. Now, here's the thing. When we're babies, we are natural fat burners. In fact, burning fat is our birthright because breast milk has a lot of saturated fat, cholesterol. It actually helps the development of the brain. And that baby, when you were a baby, we were producing ketones. So we were a ketogenic baby. What happens is, especially in America, we grow up and we eat every 2 to 3 hours. We're eating a lot of carbs, eating a lot of sugar, and then we teach our body to be a sugar burner. The body doesn't like to be a sugar burner all the time. It's actually a dirty source of fuel. I'm going to give you an analogy here. Burning sugar as your primary fuel source for your cells, it's like burning firewood inside of a home. It creates a lot of toxic smoke, and it's going to be a toxic environment. Burning fat, ketones, as your primary fuel source, it's like a natural gas stove. Burns very clean, minimal smoke. So step number one would be to teach your body to burn fat instead of burning sugar, because 90% plus people are sugar burners. I used to be one. And here's an easy test. How do you know if you're a sugar burner? I have a quiz in my Keto Kickstart Guide. It's called ketokickstartguide.com if you want to get that for free. But here's a simple test for you. Skip a meal and see how you feel. If you skip lunch tomorrow and you can't focus, you can't think, you're hangry, you're going to punch somebody in the face, that's a red flag that you are a sugar burner. So the step that I would take is to first read the Keto Kickstart Guide and start incorporating more healthy fats. I have a whole list of that, and less carbohydrates, and only have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, no snacks in between. You do that and you change your thoughts, you start practicing gratitude, you're going to get amazing results right off the bat.
Yeah. What do you think, I'm curious, what do you think caused people to say it's better to snack all day long to lose weight or release weight? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, it's one of those myths that have been passed around so long that has been accepted as truth and never validated. There's actually zero science, not even one report or paper that shows the benefits of that. In fact, the opposite shows true. When you snack every 2 to 3 hours, you're always spiking glucose and insulin. So I don't care if it's the healthiest snack in the world, you're spiking glucose and insulin. So you're essentially aging yourself, because every time you spike glucose, sugar is very sticky and the body needs to deal with that. And it binds to the protein on your cell and it glycates it. So what that is essentially is like when you bite into an apple and it turns brown, every time you spike glucose, you're doing this. Now, it's impossible to prevent this because it's the natural way of life. But when you're snacking every 2 to 3 hours, you're doing it faster. You're getting to your destination faster than you'd like. So it's just a myth that's been passed around and accepted as truth.
That's awesome. Good to know. What would you say is the best way to live a very long longevity-based life? Like, what are some other tips that you can tell us around that?
Yeah, well, get fat adapted and use keto as a tool. I don't believe keto should be something you stay in for a long time. I think it's a good tool. that downregulates inflammation.
Okay.
Something else is telomeres. Have you ever heard of telomeres, Chris?
Yeah, it's the DNA like forming strands.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So it's in our DNA at the end of our chromosomes. Kind of look at them as like the plastic little inlets or egglets, I forget what they're called, at the end of our shoelaces, and it keeps the shoelaces intact.
Yeah.
So this is what the telomeres are doing with your chromosomes, keeping you healthy. So when you're born, you have long telomeres, and the faster they shorten, the faster you're aging. It's actually one of the most accurate ways to test how long someone's going to live.
Wow.
So the biggest influence on your telomeres is sleep. So somebody who's sleep deprived, they're aging themselves faster. So to answer your question, if you want to live a long, healthy life, one of the things you can do is make sure you get at least 7 hours of quality sleep every single night. And that'll help extend your telomeres and also bringing down inflammation. I could go on and on and on, but sleep is very important.
Yeah. So do the telomeres, do they contract and expand depending on your diet, depending on what you do, your sleep, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's really cool. So there's actually a test called telo years, and I actually did it back in August. It's a saliva test, and it tests your cellular age versus your chronological age. Wow. So for me, I'm going to be transparent with you. I was 33 when I did it. When I tested my telomeres, it showed that I was 41. Wow. Right? Because most of my life I was unhealthy. It wasn't until like 10 years ago that I changed my life. So I'm actually going to test again in August. And my goal was to see that below 30. I want to freaking Benjamin Button my life.
Yes.
So you can definitely do it. It's a pretty cool test. And it's cheap too.
That's awesome. What else are you doing to reduce that age back to 30? You know, it sounds like you have a strategy behind getting it to below 30. What would you say are some other big parts of that strategy?
Yeah, the main thing is seeking out hidden stressors. What is causing a stress in your body and removing it. Once we do that, the body is so intelligent, it'll heal itself. So for me specifically, I've had many stressors. I had silver fillings in my mouth for over 20 years, and silver fillings are 50% mercury. So I actually just had them removed. But here's the thing. It's crazy. They should never be put into a child's mouth, first and foremost. Every single day, when I drink coffee, drink tea, eat food, that silver filling, the mercury vaporized and it went into my brain. So I have inorganic mercury right now in my brain. Anybody who's had a filling has it. So that's a stressor that I'm working on removing. That's called true cellular detox. I'm removing it from my body. So that's one thing. Healing my gut, doing more longer fast. All of these are, and then fixing my sleep, making sure I get better sleep. All of these are going to help me achieve that goal of Benjamin buttoning my telomeres.
I love that. It's a verb now. Benjamin buttoning. That's awesome, exactly. Man. I was going to ask you something about the fasting. That's a big part of your philosophy as well. And some of these we may have touched on in the last interview. I'll make sure I put that in the show notes as well, so people can get access to that one because it was gold. But as far as fasting, what else do we need to know about, like how long we should be fasting, how often, different stuff like that? What do you recommend?
Yes. So fasting and keto and all these things that I'm talking about here, they're all tools in the toolbox. So every tool could get the job done and give you a satisfactory result. Also, on the flip side, a tool could hurt you. Like a chainsaw could get the job done. If you don't know what you're doing, a chainsaw could hurt you.
Totally.
So with fasting, same thing. Keto, same thing. So with fasting, let's start with that. You want to make sure that you are first fat adapted. So first you become keto adapted. You read that keto kickstart guide, eat more fats, less carbs. Then you start with the simple fasting protocol. That just means a 12-hour fast. This is how it's very simplistic. You finish your last meal at 8 p.m. at night. You go to sleep. You don't eat anything until 8 a.m. the next morning. You use sleep as your fast schedule. That's a 12-hour fast. The goal is to ramp that up to 16 hours. Have a 16-hour fasting window and then an 8-hour eating window. That's good. That's a good long-term approach. Okay. Fasting is not about eating less. It's not about cutting calories. It's about eating less often. So that's a good approach. And then if you want to become a fasting pro, I actually do more of the longer fast. Me and my Keto Camp Inner Circle group, we're going to actually be doing a 5-day water fast at the end of this month. Ooh. That's more for long-term health to prevent disease. So there's a lot of power to that, but you would have to work to get there.
Yeah, I did a 3-day fast. I think, what was it, like 2 years ago or so, and I didn't do any kind of fasting before that, and it was tough, man. I did took a cayenne cleanse, different stuff like that to cleanse my body, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And it was tough, but I also like felt I don't know if it was more psychological. It was probably a lot of body and nutritional as well. Like there's a lot of benefit behind it, but I think preparing for it and knowing what's happening in the body is super important, which is why anyone who is listening to this, definitely get involved if you want to do this 5-day water fast. If you want to work up to it, talk to Ben. He's a freaking master. So I think that that's super important too, to recognize what is going to be happening in the process to prepare ourselves and make sure that we're ready to handle potentially extreme challenge or processing or detoxing for our body.
Yeah, right on. I'm impressed that you did 3 days and you had never even worked up to it. That's
willpower, man.
You're right, though. A lot of it is mentally. It's psychological. You've been programmed, speaking about conditioning, to believe that, it's been a certain amount of time, I need to eat because something's bad's going to happen. But it's not the case. If you do the proper steps, you could go. Somebody who has 10% body fat, that's somebody who's very lean. It's actually less than me. That might be you, actually. Somebody who has 10% 14, body fat. Say it again.
I'm at 14.
Oh, yeah. So there you go. So that's even leaner than you, 10% body fat. Yeah. They have about 60,000 calories of fat on their body. They can go weeks without food. That's just, a simple example right there. So there's really nothing to worry about with a 5-day fast.
Yeah. And so it's mainly mental, and also like just making sure that whatever they're doing, if it's driving or whatever, that they are, in the right state of mental health to be able to do that, as long as the fasting doesn't compromise them when they need to be in performance mode, in focus mode, to be able to be present. Because like low blood sugar, like that happened. Low blood sugar is probably one of the biggest things that happens during a fast. Would you say that's like one of the biggest kind of culprits that throws people off, that could be potentially dangerous and cause them to lose focus? Would you say that's one of the things?
Yeah, it is. But that happens only when you do it the wrong way, right? Like you did it.
Yeah.
You just go all in. So that's why I say if you do 12, then 14, then 16, you work your way up. If you feel good, you extend it. If you feel like crap, you decrease it and try again. So if you do it the right way, you're totally fine. But you did make a good point there, because these longer fasts, they're called block fasting, a 5-day fast, 3 days fast.
Yeah.
You want to make sure it's a time of your life, a period in your life where you're not have to do so many things. You're not going to exercise. You're not going to be driving too much, because you're in this rest and repair mode, and you're not going to have a lot of energy to get a lot of things done on these longer fasts. And there's a proper way to break the fast, because that's just as important as the actual fast, the way you break it. So I want to ask you, how did you break your fast? Do you remember?
Yeah, I did I think I got like a green juice from a store, and I like drank that. I was like, okay, cool. And I think later that day I had like a regular meal, carbs and eggs and bread and cheese. So it probably wasn't the greatest thing.
Awesome, dude. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. What do you have anything you'd recommend as the way to break it?
Well, for the longer fast, there's a whole structure to it. You definitely want to you don't want to eat anything raw. You want to eat something that's very easy to digest, like some steamed veggies and some eggs. Bone broth is actually my favorite way to break a fast, whether it's a shorter one or a longer one. Bone broth is great. Kettle and Fire makes a great bone broth. So that's my favorite. And then you would go with like some steamed veggies. And then the next day you could have some nuts and seeds. But you wouldn't have animal protein for a few days until after the fast is over, for a longer fast.
Yeah. How does a fast affect muscle growth?
Yeah. So there's a big myth that, I used to own a CrossFit gym, so I used to get it all the time. You want me to fast? I'm going to lose all this muscle. The human body is much more smarter than most people think.
Yeah.
We eat food. We store that food as body fat. We don't eat food. We pull that body fat out of the body. So here's an example. I'm going to give you an analogy. I'm going to explain why we don't lose muscle when we fast. So saying you're going to lose muscle when you fast, it's like storing firewood all summer long, which is your body fat, to get ready for the cold winter months. So winter rolls around, you have all this firewood stockpiled, which is your body fat, and instead of using that, you go to your couch, you chop up your couch and throw that into the furnace. It doesn't make any sense. The human body is not going to store all this body fat and then when the chips are down, burn muscle.
Right.
The reason is because of human growth hormone. When we fast, human growth hormone goes up. This is called a counter-regulatory hormone. So it runs counter to insulin. So when you're fasting, insulin is down and counter-regulatory hormones go up. There's about a few of them, but human growth hormone is the one that's muscle preserving. There's a study that shows a 2,000% increase in human growth hormone after a 24-hour fast with men and a 1,300% increase in human growth hormone after a 24-hour fast in women. This is exactly why you don't lose muscle. You lose some protein, but the protein you're going to lose is damaged protein, and then you build up new, healthier muscle and healthier protein. So it's actually a great way to put on size if you do it the right way.
Wow, it's powerful. So it's really knowing there's like different cycles in life. Knowing the optimal timing sounds like it's such a big part of really maximizing our health and nutrition and getting the most bang for our buck in what we eat and when we eat it and how we eat it.
That's right. Yeah, you're totally right. And it's a cycle of life. Feast, famine is the cycle of life. So you want to feast when you're eating, eat healthy, eat a lot, and you want to not eat when you're not eating. Don't snack. So it's that feast, famine cycle of life, and timing does play into it for sure. Yeah.
What happens to your body when you do like a mini fast? Can you tell us a little bit more about like the repair process that's happening, while we're not eating, before we're going to bed, what's happening like while we're sleeping, what happens if we wake up and we still haven't eaten, kind of thing?
Yeah, amazing things happen because if you do a shorter fast, like you said, a mini fast, so 16, 24 hours, you're going to have more energy. The longer fast that I mentioned, you're going to have less energy, but the shorter ones, the intermittent fasting, you'll have more because the body is really remarkable. When you haven't eaten food for several hours, the body starts to think that you're in a famished state. So it wants to keep you alive, alert, focused, to go out there and hunt and kill your next meal. It doesn't know about Uber Eats. It doesn't know about Whole Foods. It doesn't know about the McDonald's down the street. It's hardwired this way. So the counter-regulatory hormones that I spoke about, human growth hormone, glucagon, cortisol, sympathetic nervous system, epinephrine, this is your body's way of literally pumping you full of energy and focus so you can go and hunt and kill your next meal. Now, here's the hack. If you're an entrepreneur like me and Chris, you're not going to go hunt and kill your next meal. You're going to use that energy and focus to crush a freaking 12-hour marathon, to crush a presentation, to crush a sales call. That's a good energy, or a workout. That's a great way to use that energy for good. The second thing that happens is probably the most important thing when it comes to fasting benefits, and the reason why I do it all the time, and that's something called autophagy. Are you familiar with autophagy?
I've heard of it. Tell me more.
Yeah, so autophagy is like a switch that your body turns on at around the 12, 14-hour mark. And it's like Pac-Man going through your body, eating damaged cells and damaged protein. So I want to give you an analogy of a refrigerator. This refrigerator is stocked full of food, groceries. And these groceries, they have expiration dates, right? You got to best used by February 15th, 2019, best used by whatever date. Now, what's going to happen if we let all these groceries in the fridge expire, and instead of taking them and throwing them into the trash, we just push them towards the back of the fridge. Then we go to the buy new groceries, and then we put that in front of the old ones. What's going to happen in there, Chris?
Oh, gosh. Terrible. Meltdown. Apocalypse.
Yeah. It's going to be fungus, mold, bacteria. The human body is like this refrigerator because we have cells that have expiration dates. So when you fast, there's a process called autophagy. Autophagy, literally, the definition means self-eating. That's the definition. Your body is eating these damaged cells. It's taking those expired groceries out of your body. That's why one of the leaders in this world when it comes to cancer research, Dr. Thomas Seyfried, he says if you were to complete a 7-day water-only fast once per year, you would reduce your chances of any cancer by 95%. Wow. That's powerful because of autophagy. So these are just some benefits, and the list goes on and on and on. That's why I love fasting. It's such a powerful ancient healing strategy.
Wow. And then the difference between 1 day of fasting and like 5 or 7 days, that's the depth of autophagy that is able to be achieved with that, and like the different cells can be cleansed out at a 5-day cleanse or a 7-day cleanse.
Yeah, exactly. So you get more autophagy with the longer fast. Also, when you do the longer fast, stem cells go down in the body. And then when you break the fast, they go back up. So you get the benefits of that new stem cell growth. So yeah, you're right. The difference is the length of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Powerful, man. So if there was one way of shifting someone's thoughts, someone who's listening right now, they want the most powerful way to shift their thoughts and show up more congruent and aligned with their greatest health, what would you say has been the biggest difference maker for you, or what do you recommend to your clients to shift their thoughts and focus on the right things?
Awesome question. I love your questions, man. You're one of the best interviewers that I've seen, honestly.
Thank you.
Definitely getting away from the calories in versus calories out model. It's so popular, and it's just a huge distraction to what really matters. Because first and foremost, the human body, it's not a calculator. It's not a math equation. It's not a bank account. The human body is a very complex chemistry lab. So the whole calories in, calories out, exercise more, eat less approach, it never works long term. That's like, it's so ridiculous when I hear fitness and health professionals and experts teach this. I see it all the time. It's very popular. It's like telling somebody, it's like somebody going to a workshop with Bill Gates, right? Bill Gates is one of the richest men in the world. And he's teaching a workshop on how to become wealthy. And this person raises the hand and wants to ask Bill a question. Bill, how did you become so rich? And Bill responds, I'm rich because I earn more than I spend. Okay, but could you tell me more? That's the same thing with the calories in, calories out approach. It doesn't give you the full picture. So I always teach my clients right from the beginning, we're not counting calories. What matters is inflammation. What matters is the hormones and the metabolism. Because everybody's talking about losing weight to get healthy. I'm talking about getting healthy to lose weight. You get your cells healthy, you get your hormones healthy. A side effect is the weight comes off. A side effect, you fix your sleep, you reverse disease, you reverse diabetes. I see it all the time. So I'm so pumped up when I speak about this because I see people do it so wrong and they get so frustrated and they come to me and I show them the light and they get their life back. I love this stuff. They get their life back, Chris.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it, Ben. Is there any not general tests, but any tests that are like your go-to to recommend people to find out more about their health and where they're at? I know we talked about the years, the saliva test that you were talking about. Yeah, tell years. Yeah. So what would you recommend in terms of that so people can get a hold on where they're at in their own journey?
Yes. I run specific tests with my clients, and I'm not going to give you the whole list. I would say I'm gonna answer this in terms of people who use their insurance and go to their general doctor, because that's usually what the case is. I would say definitely look at your A1C, your hemoglobin A1C, which shows how fast you're aging, by the way, how much sugar is damaging your cells. Remember when I talked about the apple turning brown? Yeah. The higher that number is, the more the brown that apple is, right? So A1C, and then when you do your cholesterol, total cholesterol does not mean a damn thing. LDL does not mean a damn thing. I actually just did a video about it today. That's why I have this. You want to get an NMR test, and you want to look at how many particles you have of your LDL and the sizes of those particles. That's going to give you an accurate assessment. And then two others would be C-reactive protein, a high sensitivity C-reactive protein, which shows general inflammation. And then maybe something like a homocysteine test, which shows inflammation. So these are just general guidelines. There's much more, but I don't want to confuse the listener. So that would be a good start.
That's incredible, man. There's so many different tests that we can run on our body, and I'm sure when people talk to you, you're like, I have a suspicion, being the health detective, I have a suspicion that this could be, out of balance. So let's go check in on that specific area, that, the cholesterol, let's check in on that. I have a suspicion that that's at play. Or you could say it's the C-reactive protein. I have a suspicion that that is causing this inflammation or this challenge in your health. So it's like really talking with you is the best way that people can get to the source of what might be affecting them the fastest.
Yeah, right on. I mean, if you want to get your health back and you want somebody to guide you, I can do that for you, because that's exactly what it is. based off of what you tell me, I have everybody fill out a questionnaire is what I would guide them to. Let's test here. Let's find the stressor, and then we remove the stressor and the body heals itself. So right on, 100%, that's the best option.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. What would you say, in terms of the clients that you've helped, what would you say are some of the proudest results that you've had, or, seeing people's transformations, the things that's happened for them? What has been some of their biggest moments, those biggest successes that you're just stoked out of your mind for them winning on?
Wow. The first one that came to mind was this, a friend of mine. Now, her name is Angela. Mm-hmm. She's in my Keto Camp Inner Circle. She came to me last January, and she had type 2 diabetes. Her A1C was very high. It was 6.5, which is categorized as type 2 diabetes. And her doctors had her on medication. And within 60 days, Chris, she reversed her type 2 diabetes. 60 days, dude. She reversed it. And if she were to ask her doctor, the doctor would say that it's impossible. If she was to go to the American Diabetes Association website, they would say that it's impossible, that it is a progressive chronic disease that we could help you manage, but not reverse. And we reversed it in 60 days. And I see this all the time. So that's the main one that stood out. And just seeing it happen time after time after time, you just know that you know that you got something that works.
Yeah, that's so powerful, man. I love it. I love, like, when you see that result, like one of the clients I had, like, starting their own podcast, and getting their message out into the world. It was so powerful because she got to start accessing and talking to people who were her heroes, like for so long, and she looked up to them. And same thing with me, like what I've done with this 12-hour marathon, being able to connect with amazing people like you, like other guests who are changing the world, man. It's like when you see that result in people, it's so powerful. And especially, when you love what you do and you're passionate about it, and you've come from this place of, not being happy with yourself and having tons of, self challenges. I've come from this place of feeling broken. Nobody cares about me. I'm not seen. I'm not heard. I'm not loved, blah, 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 blah. And to have worked on myself to the point where I can help other people who are going through that same struggle, it's just so fulfilling, man.
I love that, Chris. And you do such a great job. You're just, I always tell you, your energy, I could feel your energy through a text message, dude. You're just one of those people that always have a great attitude. Look, I believe this. If you want to get ahead in life, you need 3 things. A great attitude, which Chris has, especially during tough times. Yeah. Number 1, the ability to overcome procrastination. Number 2, what does that mean? That means taking imperfect action, speed and implementation. Perfectionism is a fancy word for procrastinator. Yeah. So number 3 would be the ability to overcome bullying and intimidation. Because once you start to become successful, as Chris, I imagine you've seen people hate on you. I imagine you're getting comments. That's a good thing. That means you're playing a bigger game. Yep. So number 1 is to have a great attitude at all times. Number 2, the ability to overcome procrastination. And number 3, the ability to overcome intimidation. If you can conquer those 3 things, you are going to crush it. And Chris, I see that with you, man. Thank you. I really appreciate everything you're up to. Petya as well. We have a frequency that vibes. I can't believe I haven't even met you in person yet. But dude, you're a rock star. I love what you're up to. And anybody who's following Chris, if you're on the fence about this program, the 21-day program, it doesn't feel good to be on the fence. It kind of hurts, doesn't it? So get off the fence, throw your hat over the fence, and he'll help you go get it.
Definitely. 100%, man. 100%. And I love what you said there about overcoming intimidation and bullying, because I think that's one of the biggest challenges people have. Of course, procrastination, of course, attitude, but that like being intimidated by others. What will other people think? Along the journey, you have to learn how to stand for what you believe in. I remember you at the beginning of this interview, you said, here's what I stand for. And the stand is so powerful. When you're standing for something, you stand out. People are going to notice. And the people who are just like going with the flow and what everyone else is doing, being mediocre, trying to fit in, whatever it might be, trying not to rock the boat or make any waves, those people will see you standing out like a sore thumb and standing up for what you believe in. and you'll be a target to them. They'll say, why are you doing that? It's like criticizing, nagging, like annoying. And at the later levels in life, it gets a lot more intense because there's people who really are standing for their own view of life, and how they got to their level of success is by being right and, rising to the top by overcoming people rather than collaborating and working with people in cooperation, which is something that you and I are doing, Petty is doing. We're just all focused on how do we give more value? How do we empower people? How do we uplift everyone around us, our community, so that everyone is left better off after we're done? There's a win, 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 win. Like everyone's winning. And I think that's something we both do really well.
Right on. You nailed it. The world class, they're collaborating and they're creating, and the amateurs, they're gossiping and they're tearing other people down. So 100%, Chris.
Damn, man, I love it. I love it. What would you say is the big thing you're focused on this year to learn, develop the mastery, the skills? What are you really focused on this year, Ben?
In terms of what I want to learn and master?
Yep.
It's true cellular detox.
Okay.
So that's getting to the cell and detoxing. So heavy metals, understanding heavy metals, mercury, what pesticides are doing. So true cellular detox is what I've been going deep in. Yeah.
That's awesome. And how would you say, I'm curious, how would you say your, I think she's your girlfriend, right? Is she your fiance yet or girlfriend?
Girlfriend. Natasha?
Yeah. How has she inspired you to be a better version of yourself?
Wow. She has been my rock. She's been so supportive. She comes to my health lectures. Sometimes she'll come after work. She'll make the trip. And I always tell her, like, I'm really happy. I make myself really happy when I see her there and I'm speaking to an audience and she's there supporting me and she's hanging out with me afterwards. And she's never telling me things like, oh, you're working too much, or, why do you want to help so many people? No, she's supporting me and she's asking questions and she's taking actions too. And it inspires me. So it means so much to share that with somebody. I'm always grateful for it, because it wouldn't be as joyous if I didn't have her by my side. I wouldn't be as happy if I didn't have somebody with me and helping me do the things that I do. So it means everything to me.
I love it, man. I love it. And, really having that rock, that foundation, with Petia, like I'm so inspired by how much she values what I do with this 12-hour marathon, how much she encourages, how much she supports it. And I'm sure you experience that same thing with your lectures and the talks that you give and the work that you do and working with clients. And also I love what you said at the very beginning of that, which was not she makes me happy when I see her there, but rather I make myself happy when she shows up at my lectures. I love that, dude. It's like to not say you make me happy, but I make myself happy because you are here, because you have so much love, you're so generous, you see the value in what I do. So I make myself so much happier when you do that. It's like, it's such a twist on what people typically say, but it's those micro shifts that add up to being the creator of our reality rather than just kind of falling in line. And you're so powerful, Ben. I love it.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I appreciate that. And you're right. It's just a small mindset shift. We have the power to be unhappy or happy. So 100%, Chris.
100%. I love it, Ben. So we want to know, how do we continue the journey with you, Ben? What are our next steps? And if there's anything you wanted to recap on, you really want to drive home before we send them off or send them to the next steps to continue the journey, to subscribe, to join your list, to just get more access to the Ben Azadi. Let's recap and tell them where to go.
Yes. Where to go, I'm going to tell you that first, and I'm going to leave you with a short little message. So where to go is, what I'm passionate about is my online program, which is called the Keto Camp Inner Circle. And yes, there's keto in the title, but it's not all keto. It's fasting, it's sleep, it's mindset. It's an amazing group. So definitely go to Keto Camp with the K, innercircle.com to learn more about that. And then go to YouTube and type in Keto Camp with the K, to watch my videos. Those are the two main things. And then my Instagram is @benazadi. So THE Ben Azadi. That's where you can connect with me. I'm very active on Instagram. I actually have an Instagram live right now, looking at me right here. So, I'm there. And what I want to leave you with is, I gave you some coaching, become a fat burner, do some fasting, fix your sleep. I want you to understand that you are unique. You are a masterpiece. Every single person on planet Earth is important. I'm not more important than you. You're not more important than me. We are all equally important. And a little story that I'll share with you is there was a sculpture out in Philadelphia, and he had a concrete brick, just a square brick, and he started chipping away at it. And every single day, this young boy walked by and he saw the progress of this sculpture. Weeks went by, and he finished this beautiful Greek god that he carved out with his tools. Incredible. The little boy walks up to him, and the sculptor said, "So what do you think?" And the little boy goes, "Mister, how'd you know that guy was in there?" I'm here to tell you that that guy, that woman, that masterpiece is inside of you. Do you know why the Mona Lisa is so expensive? It's because it's priceless, actually. It's one of a kind. You are one of a kind. Don't let anybody take away that power. You have the power to choose your thoughts. Whenever you have a self-limiting thought, entertain it, say thank you, and choose a better thought. Me and Chris and I, we got your back. Keep pushing, never quit, and just get it.
That's right. Get it. Love it. Love it, Ben. You are the man. Everyone, definitely stay connected with Ben. Go to ketocampinnercircle.com, and that's keto with a K for camp, innercircle.com, and the Ben Azadi is where you can find him on social media as well. And Ben, thanks so much for being here. Love you, brother. Love what you're doing in the world. You got such a big heart, and just the tenacity that you do it with, the attitude, the energy. It's brilliant, and I'm really proud of you, man.
I love you, Chris. Thank you for everything that you do, brother. Thank you for having me again. Keep up the good work, brother.
Promise. We'll see you soon, okay?
All right, brother. Thanks.
All right, take care.